You push open the door to find shredded paper covering the floor, and your sofa torn apart while your dog cowers in the corner, with its head down and tail tucked, not even daring to meet your eyes. You think it knows it did something wrong and is expressing guilt, which sounds sentimental, but from a behavioral standpoint, it is a trap. This so-called sense of failure is actually an anthropomorphic trap. In reality, that cowering posture translates to just one thing. I don't know why, but I see you are very angry. I'm scared. Please don't hurt me. You might even feel a sense of pity, like it acts like a child, thinking it is a child who is afraid after making a mistake. But as your behavioral translator, I must tell you a high-precision scientific fact. Everything you just saw, the pleading eyes and the shivering body, the lowered head, has absolutely nothing to do with guilt. In the biological dictionary of dogs, morality and guilt simply do not exist. What you are seeing is an anthropomorphic misunderstanding for thousands of years. Today, we are going to translate this fictional psychological illusion into the true logic of animal behavior. To understand this, we first enter Chapter 1, the forgotten appeasement signals. Why do we always think they have bad habits? It is because humans naturally project their own moral standards and emotions. In human social interactions, bowing one's head represents an admission of guilt. But in the canine world, this posture has a completely different biological name. That name is appeasement signals. Their behavior is not driven by morality, but is deeply ingrained in their survival wisdom from millions of years of evolution. Imagine in the wilderness thousands of years ago, when a wolf sensed fury, sensing pressure from the pack leader, choosing to fight could lead to death. To avoid being attacked, it had to immediately communicate one thing. You are the boss, I surrender. Please calm your anger, and do not hurt me. Therefore, when you stand in the hall pointing at the wreckage, those apologetic expressions are actually pure fear. It is afraid, not repentant. It fears the aggression you are currently displaying, not the act of chewing the sofa hours ago. If you were to walk out the door and wait for 5 minutes, and then come back in, you would find that posture has vanished instantly because the perceived direct threat is gone. This is the first cognitive trap, using complex human morality to replace their basic survival defense response. Next, we move to Chapter 2, the disconnect in causal logic. Many owners get defensive when they hear this explanation, arguing, "No way, the moment I point at the chewed sofa, it lowers its head. Doesn't that prove it knows it destroyed it?" This involves a critical scientific gap regarding time. Research in animal behavior shows that the window is very precise, usually lasting only a few seconds. If you give feedback at the exact moment a behavior occurs, their brain can link the two. However, when you come home to find a sofa destroyed hours ago, that event is already history in their neural circuits and has no causal link to the present moment. When you stand there, pointing at wreckage and scolding, your primitive brain cannot bridge that several-hour gap to link the past action with your current anger. In their logic, they are afraid simply because of you, simply because of pointing at the sofa and shouting itself. It is an immediate, mechanical, emotional feedback. When we use human linear thinking to demand, they understand. To understand a 2-hour-old cause, we commit our second anthropomorphic error. To understand this more deeply, look at Chapter 3, the structural, emotional decoders. In the history of human-canine coevolution, the canine brain developed a unique ability to become top-tier emotional decoders. They don't need to understand human language or read your words. They can judge the level of danger by tiny body signals. This ability is even more sensitive than we imagine. The moment you push the door open, even before you speak, your breathing rate, the tension in your facial muscles, and even changes in your scent caused by stress are captured. Before you even begin scolding, their nervous system has received the alarm. Their unease is actually a reflection of your own anger, mirrored back at you. This emotional contagion makes us mistakenly believe they are reflecting on their mistakes, when a room is filled with this tense air. Their nervous system enters a high alert state. If we continue to apply pressure at this moment, we not only fail to correct the behavior, but actually increase the psychological drive for the next demolition, as chewing is often a compensatory behavior to release internal stress and separation anxiety. This leads us to Chapter 4, how to build a true scientific connection. Since they don't feel guilt, angry punishment is ineffective and harmful. Continuous scolding doesn't help them understand your meaning. It only makes them more anxious. If we want to solve these problems without breaking trust, we can look to scientific methods. First is emotional neutrality. When you come home to a mess, take a deep breath. Stay calm and do not provide excessive dramatic emotional feedback. Second is investigating potential stress sources. Often, demolition happens because their internal energy isn't being vented, or they are suffering from separation anxiety. We need to observe their state when alone and find scientific ways to relieve that stress. For instance, use scent anchors and boring exit strategies to send signals of safety to their nervous system. When we stop using guilt to bind them and start using science to understand their instincts, you will discover that the demon dog is just a child using the wrong way to express anxiety and longing for safety. When you view them through this scientific lens, you are learning a new language, a language of trust written into their biological instincts. Thank you for watching. If you want to master more scientific secrets of communication and build a deeper, calmer bond, please continue to follow us. In our upcoming programs, we will continue to translate the meanings, the true meanings hidden behind your pet's behaviors.